Okay. Okay. What kind of experiences were there?
Well, now I was in high school, and my nurturing was taking a turn.
What high school?
C.A. Johnson High School.
Okay.
At C.A. Johnson, I can remember having one really good friend when I first entered, and that was Mrs. Minnie Johnson, who was the wife of Mr. Willis Johnson, who was the owner of a funeral home in Columbia, as you know. Mrs. Johnson was our freshman counselor, and she encouraged me to learn all I could learn and not to let anyone stand in my way. And so I took this to be very powerful, again, powerful statements by very important people put in my life. I call them angels. And so therefore, she started me off on a path of learning all I could and getting into the right courses. But then she retired at the end of that year. And so here I am in 10th grade, and I start to look around, and I realized that there are some double standards. And this was the first time in my life that I realized that anyone was going to treat me differently because I lived, quote unquote, on Reed Street. And I did run into problems with a couple of teachers and a counselor who felt that I was different and that maybe I was not going to go anywhere. And so when I hear people nowadays talk about double standards, blacks and whites, and how integration's done us so bad, I always remind them that even when we had segregation, there were those of us who were double segregated against. And I feel I was. And so I used to have to stand my ground. And my mom and dad taught me that as long as I was standing in the right place, doing the right thing, I could stand my ground. And also, all of our civil rights leaders were teaching me that at the time. That's why that was so important. So even here I am, a little black girl in a black high school, never had white teachers, but yet I had teachers who felt because of the complexion of my skin, there were people who were dark like me, who were not majorettes, who were not cheerleaders, who were not expected to go to college, and people like me again who lived in the vicinity of Reed Street, which was not the bourgeois area of Columbia at that time. And so therefore, figure everybody who lives on Reed Street's only going to finish high school maybe have a couple of kids and maybe not finish high school. They will be common laborers and never amount to a whole lot, so don't waste your time with it. Now keep in mind, I'm not saying all of my teachers that I came in contact with were like this, because obviously somebody did something right, because I'm here today and I'm quite successful. But I just want people to know that it did exist. And so to not acknowledge that it existed it's not right. You really need to know that it did exist. But there were those of us who high school and